A warm welcome to Lost for Words, a podcast exploring the opinions, glories, and interesting stories of guests. I am your host Jason, and for episode 22, I am joined by Matthew Crowe. Matthew Crowe is a keen skateboarder and explorer from northwest London. With skateboarding having featured at the Olympics for the first time, Matthew chats about his route into the hobby and the vital social aspect of meeting other like-minded people, particularly through lockdown. We speak about how skateboarding continues to grow in popularity despite some lingering resistance. Matthew is also a keen urban explorer and uses TikTok to document a lot of his adventures. Matthew tells the story of attending an illegal rave that was shut down by police, and he used his phone to document the experience, and the video has been viewed over 31 million times on TikTok. A quick housekeeping note before we get started. Please leave a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be Apple, Google, Spotify, Podbean, or any other platform. It's the best way the podcast can grow and better content can be produced for you, the listener. It's your listening experience that matters the most. But enough from me, now on to today's episode of Lost for Words. Hello, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What have you been up to today?
I've just skated for a bit and now I've just come back.
But then just tell people who won't be familiar with you a bit about yourself. So where are you from?
I'm from London, like northwest of London.
Right, and how old are you?
I'm 17, so I'm just about to join college.
Good. So what is there to do for a 17-year-old in, is it northwest London you were saying to me before?
Not much really. I just say I mainly just skate around with my friends, and just I go into central London quite a bit to either skate or go to the shops there.
Good. I'm going to come on to the skating because there does seem to be, going by your TikTok, there's a fair gang of you, which is interesting, and I do want to speak about that in general. So what are you going to do at college when you do start after the summer?
I'm going to start media studies. So I was at school before and I left because I don't think it was right for me. And I'm going to start college, which is media studies I'm doing, which I already have some experience in from school. And I enjoyed it there. So I'm just going to focus on that in college.
Good. And what would you like to do then with media studies? Where do you see that taking you long term?
So I'm hoping just either filming, skating, or just being out and about filming, and maybe even traveling while filming, or editing even.
How did the onset of the pandemic then affect had you left school already by that point?
I hadn't. So I went into lockdown. It was mainly just online classes, and during breaks and things, I would go out the front and just skate by myself.
And are you a fan, or were you a fan of the online schooling, or did you prefer going in?
I prefer going in. More, you can get more help just with things you're struggling on, whereas online it's just you have to do it yourself.
Very true. Right, we'll move on to the skateboarding then. It's quite topical just now, obviously, because it's been in the Olympics for the very first time. But for you then, you're obviously someone who's passionate about skateboarding. What does skateboarding mean to you?
I think it's a good hobby just to keep, and it's good for my fitness. But it's also almost like a family. Like the people I've made friends with, at my local skate park, have almost become part of my family. I see them every day, and it's almost like a family down there.
So could you then say, going through that aspect of it, so the social aspect, that especially in a pandemic and the mental health thing that's going on, so have they been a good help for your mental health?
My friends or skateboarding, sorry?
So both, so your friends that you've made through skateboarding and going skateboarding with them during lockdown?
At first, I I was just skating by myself, and even just getting out, it was really good for my mental health. And meeting new people through skating, we can just bond over something we both love. So it's really good just to make friends that have similar interests. So
how old were you the first time you set foot onto a skateboard?
I was 15 when I started properly, but I'd say I had like a small board when I was about 12, but my mum wouldn't let me ride it. So I wasn't allowed a proper skateboard until I was 15.
So see people that are the skateboarders at the Olympics, what I've noticed is that they're very young. It's a very young person's sport. How old do people generally start doing it? And would you say you were late, or were you kind of the normal age to start?
I say there's obviously like the people that start when they're really young and they just do it their whole lives, and then there's people that start when they're like teenagers, like I did. So some of my friends have been skating their whole life, others have been skating the same amount of time as me, which is quite nice. But I'd say the people that go to the Olympics have obviously started from a young age.
So even from the time you started at, say, we'll even call it 12 when you first sort of started, so in the 5 years from then to now, do you think skateboarding has increased in popularity?
100%, yeah. Through like TikTok as well, it's become almost like a trend to skate, which I think is quite good because you see a lot more new people down at the skate park, and it's obviously gone to the Olympics now.
Excellent, excellent. And how would you say your skills are? So, how to compare it? Like, would you say if an Olympic skateboarder is like world class and say they will rate their skills 10 out of 10, where would you place yourself?
Compared to them, like 2. But yeah, no, compared to them, like 2, but down at like local skate park, probably a bit more. But
So in terms of the skateboarding, the gang that you've got down at the parks and stuff, how many, like, on a good night, how many people can you expect to turn up with their skateboards?
so if we all go to the big skate park, which is near us, I'd say there could be up to like 50. And then there could be some BMX riders and scooter riders and rollerbladers as well that I'm friends with.
And would they all use the same equipment at the skate park, the same ramps and stuff?
Yeah, we got to take turns and like share it. Yeah.
Right, good, good. And then obviously we were saying it's made it to the Olympics, which is a big step. But how important is it for skateboarding that it has made it to the Olympics? Does it give it a legitimacy, would you say?
Yeah, I think before people didn't really see it as a sport. Now it's like being put forward into the Olympics. People now are like seeing it as a sport now, and it's becoming more mainstream, which I think is quite good for it. And it's going to get, I think, a lot more like money put into it.
The first time that you ever sort of set foot on a skateboard, what was your inspiration for doing it? Was there someone that you liked? Was there a professional skateboarder that you had seen, or was it just a case of you had seen people out in the street doing it and you wanted to have a go for yourself?
Mainly just I've seen on movies people skate my whole life, and I just thought it was just a cool thing to do. So I just wanted to start it just for a bit of fun, and it's kind of like a hobby now I do.
I was reading a thing today about skateboarding at the Olympics, and where the skateboarding, do you call it the ramp or the arena? I think they called it the arena on the Olympics.
Oh yeah.
Close to where that is in Tokyo, there are there's places near the river that have signs that say no skating. So there's a lot of it that it's still frowned upon in some aspects of life. So some people would still see it as an undesirable hobby. So what barriers do you think are in place for young people that want to start and then would see things like that plastered around their city?
I think as you get better, you're going to want to start skating like stairs and rails and things like you see in the Olympics. And the best ones are normally out on the street, but it doesn't mean it's your property. So it's normally other people's property. And if they put a sign up saying no skating, it's probably like a skate spot that a lot of skaters go to, or it's like a well-known spot. So it's, if you're just starting off, it probably won't discourage you. But as you start getting better and you keep getting kicked out, it's kind of discouraging.
And how would you say London is for that? Are there more good skating spots now compared to 5 years ago, or as you would say, the popularity of skateboarding has increased, that people have become more proactive in putting up no skate signs in places?
I think there's definitely been almost a decrease in the amount of spots you can skate, because people put like bumps in front of stairs or little bumps on the rails so you can't go down them. But there's still quite a few spots around like South Bank. South Bank Skate Park wasn't actually a skate park when it was made, but skaters have almost made it into a skate park. And St. Paul's near the cathedral, there's quite a few spots around there that are quite famous for skating.
So if you're having a skateboard and meet up in, say, central London, how far and wide do skaters come from?
I would say all around London. Just if my friend does this thing called Skate Out London, and we skate through the roads in London and normally end around South Bank, and it's really good fun. It's just a bunch of skaters and we just skate through, and you can make new friends through it. But I've met people from like miles away, like outside of London, during that, but I couldn't tell you how far.
If you're skating through the roads, do you get a few funny looks from drivers?
I'd say so, yeah. I'd say like if we're keeping almost like bikes on the side, normally it's fine. But obviously there's the odd car that just doesn't like us skating on the roads or even on the footpath.
I've seen a couple of your videos the one you've got on TikTok, and it's the road is empty, to be fair, but you're spread almost across the width of a car and a half. So I can imagine what that would be like, is if you're a road user and you're unsuspecting, you turn a corner and you see this troop of skaters, you'd be like, oh, what the fuck is going on here? But
Yeah.
it looks as if from your point of view it would be quite a fun thing to be doing, kind of skating through the streets of London from a very unique point of view. I did think it was quite cool.
Yeah. I mean, they do the same for like bike riders. Like they have big bike meetups in London, and they do the same. They will just go straight through the streets. So I think it's kind of similar to that, but we're just on skateboards.
Do you think that the general attitude towards skateboarders is improving, or is there still the sort of element of it's just a hobby and you're almost being delinquents, if that makes sense? The way that people would slap up a no skate sign because you're a pain in the backside. Do you still think that is the mentality, or is it getting better?
I think it's getting better, but there's like the other day I was skating in my street, and some man was just like almost cheering me on as he walked past. Like he said, "Oh, that was close, and I almost landed a trick." But there's obviously some people that don't like it. For example, when I was out, I was skating down the street, and some woman just put her leg out and just tripped me over for literally no reason, other than I was just riding a skateboard.
Is she allowed to do that?
I don't think so, no. But it doesn't bother me because obviously I fall over anyway skating, but it scared me when I fell, but I'm not going to get up and just start a fight over nothing. Like, she can do what she wants, really, but as long as I didn't get too badly hurt.
Yeah, but say you apply that to, say, children out in the street, or you're playing at football out in the street, you can still fall and hurt yourself doing that. It doesn't give you someone walking past the right to come and trip you up. That's silly. I think
No.
you've let her off with one there.
Yeah. I mean, people do, you see a lot of skaters starting fights over almost nothing, or just if someone's like pushed them over and stuff. But I'm not really the sort of person to go and turn around and start fighting. So I just kind of just skated off and just carried on.
That's sensible. The Olympics then, have you been paying close attention to it?
I have, yeah.
What have you made of the skateboarding then? Just your general opinion on it?
I think it's really good it's in the Olympics. But I think a lot of the skaters that should won or should have come close to winning just didn't perform because almost the pressure, because it's such a big stage from what they're used to, like just skating around, because there's street league, but there's nowhere near the amount of crowd the Olympics brings in.
See, the thing is with that as well, I wanted to ask was, and I have noticed I would have agreed with that just on the basis of, I didn't think Japan was a skateboarding hotbed of a country, yet the 2 golds that have been won by them. And I think you saying that skateboarders have been nervous, that it can't be a coincidence that the 2 skaters that are on home soil, that must have helped them because they're not having to, it's not a new international stage. Whereas for all these other people having to travel, I guess the nerves could factor in. Do you think that has played a part, or were those Japanese skaters in the frame for a gold medal anyway?
Definitely, yes. Especially with Yuto. Niger Houston, he's one of the top skaters and everyone thought he was going to win it, and he comes from America, but Yuto came home with the gold. But I'm not sure if that's because it was his home soil or not, but it probably played a part in it.
What would the atmosphere be like at a skateboarding event if there was a crowd?
I think it would be really good fun, because you'd get all the skaters, they'll get all a confidence boost to try new tricks or harder tricks if the crowd's watching and cheering them on.
So say, like, next time in Paris 2024, assuming there will be a crowd, does that then increase the standard of the skating that takes place?
I think it would, yeah.
I thought that as well, because it is the type of, it's very much when you see it on YouTube, it's very much a hype type sport where even in like an informal setting, there's just a crowd gathered round, you would definitely be feeding off the energy of the people that are watching and cheering you on.
Yeah, especially if I'm just skating at the skate park, if my friends are cheering me on, I'll skate better rather than just if I'm skating by myself.
Definitely. Who are some of your favourite professional skateboarders?
I would say Yuto, I've liked ever since I started skating, and Jamie Griffin is another one who's very good at flat ground, but he's not in the Olympics.
Yuto commented on one of your pictures. What was the story with that?
So I bought his pro model board because I just like the way he skates, and I just thought I might as well support him. So I bought his board and I tagged him in the photo because I had the board in the photo, and I added him in the comments. And I didn't really think he was going to reply or see it, but he ended up like commenting on it, and and he liked it as well, and I was really shocked that he actually like saw it.
That's pretty cool. I did like seeing that, because it's just nice that the professionals are still engaging with people like yourself who are supporting them, and yeah, it's just nice that it's a bit of an acknowledgement from somebody who you look up to.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
What would your sort of advice be? So say there was a youngster that is 8 or 9 years old and has been watching the Olympics and has been watching the skateboard and thinks, that's pretty cool, and they were thinking about maybe going out and skateboarding. What would you say to convince them to give it a try?
I'd say just go to your local skate park, and everyone there is really welcoming. I went down for the first time and I made friends that I'm still friends with now straight away, just from trying to skate.
Why is skateboarding a young person's sport? So why is it that you see some of the qualifiers for the Olympics and some of them aren't even teenagers yet? So Why is that? Is there an explanation for that? And this is me asking as someone who doesn't have a clue really why. I'm coming at it from an open mind. So,
I think especially with so far in the Olympics, only the street section has been shown, which is definitely the younger side of skating because you're throwing yourself down like big rails and stairs. And obviously, if you're older, your body probably can't take that. But in the park section, there's probably going to be a few more older skaters, and park skating is more popular with older people. I'm not sure why that is, but yeah, I don't know.
yeah, like from a non-skateboarding expert, you can see why that is because, as you say, you were putting a lot of wear and tear on your body, and I think especially as the way I watch it, and it's the way they slam the board down. That's going to have a lot of sort of grit and grind on your knees, and I don't think you can keep really doing that as well as your body growing. You're going to get to your mid-20s and your knees are going to be falling apart.
Yeah.
What like is the skateboard and TikTok scene? How easy is it to network with other people?
Um, I haven't posted too much about my skating on TikTok, but um, I see other people posting a lot about their skating, and I think now it's been in the Olympics, a lot of people are going to start getting interested in it, and it will come up on like people's For You page. Um, but at the moment, I think um, it's still quite a big scene on TikTok for people to like follow skaters and things. But I think it's going to grow quite a lot.
What like has TikTok helped with the increase in popularity of skateboarding?
I think TikTok's probably the main cause of why it's almost blown up again from whenever it was popular in like the 90s.
Right, we'll move on from the skateboarding and the Olympics and talk a bit about your exploring and just your general use of your TikTok. Um, Tell me a bit about some of the places you've gone to explore. And the first one I'm kind of referring to would be the abandoned train track. But other than that, where are some of your favourite places that you've just gone and checked out?
Um, so the abandoned train track is right near a skate park that I've gone to a few times, and I've known about it, and we've gone down there before. I just decided to film it one time and make a TikTok about it because I thought it was quite cool, just walking on some abandoned train tracks. But I'd say my favorite place that I've gone to is a pool at night, and we like jumped in off this roof into the pool, which I thought was really fun.
And was this an outdoor public pool? How did you find out that this pool was a place, or was it somebody's house? Like, it was hard to tell.
Um, it was a public pool, but um, the gate was just open. Well, kind of. There was a fence, and like next to the gate, and it was pretty much open. So we just went through there and just went for a swim, and then went home.
Abandoned train track and the public pool you went swimming in at night time. Were they fairly local to where you're from?
Um, yeah, I'd say they're about 30-minute drive for both of them. I'd say.
Right, and then moving on to the raves. So this is the interesting bit. How common were they? Are they? Have they been through lockdown?
They were through, I think, all of the lockdowns, but I never went to the ones in the main lockdowns. Just as the lockdown was easing up and finished, I've gone to a few.
How many would you say you've attended? More or less than five?
Um, Definitely less than five. I'd say two or three.
And what would your response be? So say that the COVID police are coming for you and they would say, you're shocking, Matthew. Imagine doing that during a pandemic. People are dying, XYZ. What would your response to them be?
I mean, I know it was wrong, but I mean, I guess it's not really an excuse, but I was just itching to get outside and go like, almost like return back to normal life. before I should have. I probably wouldn't have done it again, knowing the cause, but I was just really wanting to go outside and return to almost normal life.
That brings us on to the one of the few raves that you've been to, and you had a viral altercation with the law, shall we say?
Yeah.
So, you describe the circumstances of that evening. So it's better than me asking the questions. So just tell me what happened.
So we were in the building, and the music all went off, and the lights came on, and everyone was a bit confused. And then everyone was like, "Oh, there's police outside! There's police outside!" And everyone started to like panic. And everyone like got away from like all the windows so they didn't see. But I kind of wanted to see what was going on, so me and my friend went over to the window, and I thought it was quite like there were so many, and I heard the TikTok sound before, so I kind of said to my friend, "I've got the perfect TikTok sound for this," and I got up TikTok, just filmed the TikTok, and then went back to where everyone else was.
So setting the scene here for people listening, that Matthew's upstairs in it looks like a building that's in an industrial estate, seemingly, and he's looking out of a glass window, and there's police lined along the street. There must be at least 30 of them. The window's been smashed, and it just looks as though you're fucked, pretty much, and then you've had the wherewithal to pull out your phone and just start to say that we're fucked. Yeah. And then after that, you've did like a part 2. So you've managed to dodge the police. But when did you decide that you weren't going to just go out to see them? So when did you decide, right, I'm going to try and make a break for it here?
So it was like a fire exit, and my friend, so a few of my friends that I came with and a few other people opened the fire exit and went out to pretty much nothing, except for a fence with a big drop in between another like spiked fence, and most people just turned around, but I didn't exactly want to wait around and go out the front, so we hopped over the small fence and then jumped across to the spiked one, and then went over, and then just walked down this long road, and then climbed over, I think it was a fence, back onto like the main street, which was where the police were, but we didn't go down the road they were. We just went home.
So were they there arresting people, or were they there just to disperse the gathering?
I don't think they arrested anyone, because I know a few people that went out the front, but they didn't arrest anyone. I think they just took people's names down and took their IDs. I'm not sure if they fined anyone or arrested anyone. I think it was just mainly just to disperse them and stop it from happening.
So did the majority of people go out the front, or majority like you have made a break for it round the back?
I'd say it was 25, 75. Like I'd say 25% came out the back, 75% went out the front.
That's quite clever. Fair play to you, and the 25% that have been resourceful and fast thinking. Now that kind of lockdown is easing off a bit, will the illegal rave scene die down because clubs are now opening back up?
I don't think it will, because a lot of the people that go will be like 17 or 16. Some will be older, but obviously people can't get into clubs at the age of like 17. And the groups of people that organize it, they would want to make money, so they would still keep going, even if it does die down. They still make money from it.
Just to round off, just talking about your TikTok. So your TikTok has a strong follower base, and how much an effect did that? The one video that's got, I think it was 4.9 million likes the last time I looked at it. How have you built it up to have such a strong following?
I think it was just mainly from that one video, and I've obviously posted other videos in the past, and people have just seen it and then gone through my account and just followed me from what they've seen and some of the places I've explored. But I think it's just that one video. A lot of people wanted to see like how I got out and things, So they followed me from that. So I think it's a mix of both.
Have you had any negative experiences using TikTok? 'Cause I think a lot of the chatter and stuff about it is that with social media in general is that it can get you down. But have you had any negative experience with your TikTok or any other social media?
I haven't, but whenever I do feel like it's getting a negative effect on me, I just will delete all socials and almost just have time to myself and just skate and have fun. But on TikTok, I've never really had any problems. I don't read any of the comments on the main TikToks that like have blown up. Just on the smaller ones, I read some of the comments, just in case there's something that might upset me.
How could you quantify the help that is for you? How much does it help when you just have a time out?
It helps a lot. I think just having time just to almost step back and just see what's actually important, rather than like trying to create almost a false personality on social, and just working on your actual personality is better than creating a false one.
Away from the raves and the skateboarding, what makes you happy? So what do you like to do in your time and the things that you do away from the things you post on TikTok? What makes Matthew happy? What does Matthew like to do?
I'm not too sure. Just I like being out, exploring, I guess, but probably just being at home. Just being at home with my family, really, and just seeing them, because I'm out quite a lot, so I don't get to see them too much if I'm staying at people's houses. But it's nice to come home and see them.
Did you meet your girlfriend through the skateboarding?
I didn't. I met her through mutual friends quite a while ago now.
What do you have the most fun doing now that there's no lockdown anymore?
I think meeting up, going to places in Central without the worry of police coming and breaking it up, or just having fun, almost like it was normal and there was no pandemic. But obviously, we still got to be careful because we don't want like another outbreak.
Before you go, just tell people that are listening, where can they find you on social media?
Matthew Crow on TikTok and Matthew.Crow on Instagram.
Excellent. Right. Thanks a lot.
Right. Thank you.
Bye bye. And there you have it. Big thanks to this week's guest Matthew for his time. Matthew's Instagram and TikTok are both included in the show notes. The usual bits and pieces from me to see you out. The best way to keep up to date with future episodes of Lost for Words is to follow using the handle at Lost for Words Pod on both Twitter and Instagram. To support the show, hit the subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts, and if you're an Apple Podcasts user, a 5-star review would be amazing, and it really does mean the world. If you like what you hear, please consider telling someone, because word of mouth is also very powerful in helping us to grow. That is all from me for this week. I am your host Jason, and this has been episode 22 with Matthew Crow. I hope to see you back next time for another episode of the Lost for Words podcast.